Coach won't be seen tonight, so we can bring you a very special episode of The Gen X Files. Welcome to The Gen X Files. I'm Jim.
I'm Adam.
And today's show is all about So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Another
baby.
very long-titled Hitchcockian comedy.
Yes, but a movie that I absolutely adored when it came out.
Yes, same. My best friend Damien and I in high school would repeat lines to each other constantly.
Oh, yeah.
I still say negatory because of this movie.
Negatory.
Yeah.
Negatory, good buddy.
Oh,
yeah. Head, pants, no.
Which actually I think that came from my biology teacher, and I think he got it from... Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, and falling asleep on your giant tears on his giant pillow.
On his giant pillow. Oh.
Yeah, that was always great.
Yeah, I was a bit offsides on that one, huh? He's going to cry himself to sleep tonight on his huge pillow.
His huge pillow.
Oh, man. Such a fun movie. And, I mean, we'll talk about it. The most interesting thing to me is to see the one and only time that Mike Myers ever played kind of himself or played a straight character.
Yeah.
I can't think of another time where he didn't have a character to hide behind. I mean, he's a great actor, but he is a character actor. And I think
The Guru.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm just kidding.
You had to bring up The Guru. It was going to be a nice show.
Sorry. He was just playing himself. That was him. That was a documentary, essentially.
Sure. It was also the Hiroshima of cinema in terms of bombs.
It was terrible.
It ruined his career for a while.
Yeah, I know.
And rightly so. Sorry.
Yeah, it was not good.
Sorry, Mike. That was a bad
Sorry, I did
bad
not
movie.
mean to interrupt you. But I had to get that out.
Yeah, I don't even know what I was talking about.
Yeah, sorry, I derailed the entire
my brain.
conversation.
Yes, The Guru, again, probably
yeah.
the closest thing to him.
It's the only time where he was playing not a character and just a person.
Yes.
Yeah.
He didn't have...
Although he tried really hard to be a character in this movie.
Well, I think the one thing that's apparent is I don't think that he was comfortable being in his own skin. I don't think he ever... I think it was very difficult for him to try to emote because he would always, go to the shtick.
Right.
Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked it the first time. When he did it again and during the movie, I was like, okay.
Yeah. But that's the thing. It's like it stands out because he's doing... Whenever he starts to be real, you can see the look in his eye like, oh, I'm feeling a little uncomfortable. I got to put in a little something.
I gotta be a little weird.
And it's still a great performance and a great movie. It's just that you can see the edges of him being insecure about being naked almost, without...
And literally.
Yeah, very, very literally. But also, when he's playing his father...
Right.
He hits those emotional beats.
Oh, yeah. He can be
amazing
with the relationship with the mom is so good.
Well, it's also Brenda Fricker is one of the
She's
greatest
amazing.
actors ever.
Yes.
But it's like, it's just very interesting to see this side of him.
Right.
And the fact that he never really went back to it. And I think probably because this movie didn't do as well, it probably, he was like, well, nobody wants to see me as me.
That was a sign. Yeah. Why would I do this again?
And then he never did. It's just kind of a shame.
And then he did The Guru.
No. He made Austin Powers first, right?
He did. And Wayne's World 2 and Austin Powers, all the 50,000 Austin Powers movies.
Which were all great.
They were hilarious.
And then The Guru. Golden Member wasn't as strong as the other two, I don't think.
It was still funny.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, it was
definitely.
still funny.
And it's like...
Wait, did you say Golden Member?
Isn't that what it was called?
Gold Member.
Oh, it's a Gold Member?
Look, I like Golden Member.
Didn't he have a Golden Member?
Yeah, yes, but it was Gold Member.
Right.
Like,
all right.
Yeah.
I'm old, man. I miss subtitles a lot. Anyway, come on, let's get into it.
All right, let's get into it. Take yourself back. 1993. Yeah. January 12th. Omema Nelson is convicted of second-degree murder for stabbing her husband with scissors, beating him to death with a clothes iron, castrating him, boiling his head and hands, chopping him up, mixing him with ground turkey, and running him through the garbage disposal.
Ew, did she feed him?
No, she just ran it into the trash.
Oh,
okay. She was trying to get it down into the sink. She claimed that he sexually assaulted her less than 2 months into their marriage, which occurred within a few days of the 23-year-old former model meeting the 56-year-old pilot. They literally met and within 3 days got married, and then a few months later, he was dead.
Well, see, you got to get to know the person you're going to marry, Adam.
Don't get married. It's
very
within
important.
3 days.
Why did you mix it up with turkey, I wonder?
I think so that if they try to go down into the sewer and find him, maybe.
Mixed up with I don't know. I think maybe she was going to serve him up, and they decided
it's possible.
Not to.
I mean, The fact that she mixed him with ground turkey is super weird. I don't.
Well, a lot of it's weird. Okay, let's be honest.
Sorry, that's where I draw the line.
Yeah.
Everything else is fine.
Yes. Oh, man, she was busy.
Yeah. April 11th, after his third marriage went sour, 60-year-old Robert Spangler and 58-year-old aerobics instructor Donna Sundling went hiking in the Grand Canyon, and Spangler pushed her off a 140-foot drop to her death.
Oh, man, she must not have been very good at aerobics.
No, they were trying to save their marriage, and apparently in the middle of it, he just said no, and then kicked her off of a cliff.
Yeah, that's one way to end it.
Later, after reconnecting with his second wife, she would die from a Tylenol overdose. They claimed it was suicide. And then in 1978, before all this, Robert Spangler lured his first wife, Nancy, into the basement with the promise of a quote-unquote surprise and shot her in the head with a revolver. He went upstairs, shot his teenage children, Susan and David. David was slow in dying, so Spangler smothered him with a pillow.
Good God.
Spangler then altered the scene to make it appear that his wife had shot their children and then herself.
And he got away
with it for 25 years.
Good Lord, that MFer got to kill 3 women.
Yeah. I mean, technically, they don't know if he killed his second wife. They ruled it a suicide, but
Who kills themselves with
he
Tylenol?
admitted when he got caught after he kicked his third wife off the cliff. Like
Jesus. I don't mean to laugh, but Jesus.
No, I know it's a lot. But he admitted to killing. He never admitted to the second wife, but he admitted to the family in 1978.
Well, that's an incredible coincidence that it was a murder-suicide sandwich.
Yeah.
Where he murdered the two, and then in the meat was a suicide. That's bizarre.
And from Tylenol. She OD'd on Tylenol.
Well, you get desperate, man.
I guess.
Whatever's in the house. How does that work? It must.
You had to have taken a lot.
And it must not be very
It was
calming.
It was extra strength.
Oh.
No, I
that'll
don't
do
know.
it.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I get painkillers and stuff because it just puts you to sleep. But Tylenol doesn't put you to sleep. It just make your belly grumble until you die.
Yeah. June 23rd, Lorena Bobbitt uses a Ginsu knife to cut off her husband John's penis after he came home and raped her.
You know, it was so odd that Ginsu used that in their advertising. It cuts through cans. It cuts through it cuts through penises.
So she took it for a drive and tossed it into a roadside field.
And they found it.
And they did. And they reattached it.
Okay, look, this was absolutely insane when it happened. Like everybody, we all were captivated. Every guy is captivated by a penis cutting. It's just something that hits close to home with us.
You side-eye your partner all the time.
Yeah, it's just like
would you do that? Would you do that?
Well, you got scissors on your nightstand. What are those for? But I watched a documentary about this. Fascinating documentary. Mm-hmm. That guy's a piece of ass.
Oh yeah, he's gnarly. Apparently he raped her a lot.
If anybody deserved to have their wang. Yeah. Anyway, but they found it. They were talking to the cops who were searching for this guy's penis. And it's like in movies when you cut off a penis, it just looks like a penis. If you've ever seen like 21 Jump Street it's like a big old hefty peen.
Yeah.
But the truth is, if you cut off a penis, it dehydrates and it turns into like a little mushroom.
It shrivels, yeah.
So you're not looking for a big old wang. You're just looking for a little gloop. And the way the guy found it was he stepped on it.
Oh!
And he's like, and he wouldn't touch it either. Oh. The cop was like, oh, I'm not touching that thing. And then most of the other cops were like, neither am I. So they finally had to find somebody who wasn't a total tool.
Yeah.
To get the tool.
Get the member.
And then
his golden member.
I don't know if you remember this, but he started doing porno.
Yeah. Oh no.
As like Frankenpenis.
It was big news too because it was like, everybody wants to see if it still works.
Did you hear about this? So apparently he.
It was definitely water cooler talk.
God.
For sure.
But man, and the way they demonized this woman.
She was actually acquitted.
Yes.
By reason of insanity.
Well, she should have been,
declared her insane because she cut off her husband's penis, who raped her constantly.
Which drove her insane.
Yeah.
But
to me, that's a logical conclusion. Someone's raping me, I'm going to cut their penis off.
Right, but I think it's also, they determined that the abuse led to the moment of...
Right.
Not insanity, but like,
regardless, she didn't spend any time in jail.
But if you have a chance, forget the name of it. There's a documentary about this that really sheds the light on the truth of the whole situation. Okay. And I think
I'll look it up and we'll chat about it, or I'll at least mention it in the Stepdad Show.
Yeah, it's a very interesting. I mean, it was such a salacious, and it's just we used to have absolutely no class when it came to making fun of things, and
it was bad.
And so this just was a huge joke, about a crazy lady cutting off a wang. But there's a lot of horrific. There's a lot of horrific details behind the whole situation.
So July 30th, So I Married an Axe Murderer is released in theaters.
Nice.
Everyone's still thinking about John Bobbitt's penis.
Yeah. That
So
was the name of my band.
I'm sure there probably was many bands named John Bobbitt's penis.
Yes, there's all these drum kits with the bass drum like half scrubbed off.
Or like dismembered member, or
Yes.
something. Yeah.
Okay. Punk bands, of course.
Oh yeah. The genesis of So I Married an Axe Murderer originated in 1987 when producer Robert N. Fried, who had recently left Orion Pictures to set up his own production company, met with writer Robbie Fox to discuss story ideas.
Okay, I don't know either of those.
Fried I'd heard of before, but I don't recall what else he's done. I mention it later. In 1987, at the age of 23, Robbie Fox was picked to direct a short for Columbia Pictures Discovery program under Chairman David Putnam.
Okay, I know Putnam.
Fox wrote and directed the award-winning The Great O'Grady, which premiered at Sundance. It was a short film about a world championship spitter.
What?
Like, literally, they had contests of how far you can spit.
Okay.
And this was like a parody movie of this kid who could spit really far.
I think I've seen this.
I think I actually have too, to be honest.
It's really good, if I remember correctly.
I'm pretty sure you can find it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So. But because of that, he became a hot ticket in Hollywood. Fried and Fox ended up talking about the problems they had with women and agreed that
most women appeared to be out to destroy us. Okay. All right, buddy.
Yeah.
Maybe you want to take a little self-reflection, a little stock in thyself.
Take a look in the mirror. Howard Zeif, Howard Zeif, director of Private Benjamin in 1980 and The Dream Team in 1989, signed on as director in 1989 and supervised multiple drafts of the script over the next year. In each of those drafts, Harriet was the murderer, though her motive for murdering was changed in each draft. The final scene was always Charlie visiting her in prison, where she was halfway through her sentence, bringing her a cake for their anniversary. Modeled after the end of Some Like It Hot, previously commitment-phobic Charlie had realized that
other than the stabbings, Harriet was really the perfect wife. And that nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they changed it. So
It just wouldn't have worked, I don't think.
No, it just would have been weird. It would have been a weird downer ending.
Well, because I don't care how good she is, she's still a murderer.
Yeah.
And
Nobody's perfect.
it's just, it would have been silly. I mean, I think what they did was much more more clever, and it was a much more believable sitch.
Yeah. Fried and co-producer Kerry Woods formed their own production company in 1982. So I Married an Axe Murderer was their first film for which they were given a $20 million budget.
It's pretty big for a comedy.
Yeah. After Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, director Chris Columbus was sent the script for So I Married an Axe Murderer and Mrs. Doubtfire at the same time, and was asked to direct one of the two comedies set in San Francisco.
Wonder which one he picked.
Columbus liked the screenplay for So I Married an Axe Murderer and briefly considered directing, but ultimately decided to do Mrs. Doubtfire instead because of his desire to work with Robin Williams.
He also just had this huge desire to have Robin Williams smile through tears.
I always forget that Chris Columbus directed Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yes.
I feel like the movie surpasses his ability to direct.
Well, you'll see there are moments,
I know.
and I'm not even kidding about the.
Yeah, I know.
My least favorite thing that Rob Williams ever did.
Mrs. Doubtfire?
No, his crying. Through smile. His Patch Adams shtick.
Oh yeah.
He was such a great performer.
Jacob was the one where he was in. Robin Williams was in.
Jacob the Liar.
Yeah, Jacob the Liar. I think I actually walked out of that movie.
Yeah,
God, I blocked most of that out of my memory. Anyway, Fried and co-producer Kerry Woods asked Mike Myers to play Charlie McKenzie because of the success he had with the film Wayne's World.
Wayne's World, party time, excellent.
Yeah. He agreed because he liked the script, and as many of his friends also had a fear of commitment, and
we're all suffering from cold feet. And what is cold feet but a low-grade terror? This story just expands on that terror.
Myers extensively rewrote the script with writer Neil Mullarkey, an old friend from Britain. In the mid-'80s, Mullarkey teamed up with Mike Myers as Mullarkey and Myers.
Yeah.
a very imaginative name. They would perform sketches based on their shared love of cartoons, B-movies, and bad TV.
I love it. Mullarkey, what a great name. He
is.
was born for comedy.
He was.
And to be insulted by our president, Biden.
Okay.
Full of malarkey, Jack.
They played around the burgeoning London pub circuit. As their fame increased, Mullarkey and Myers toured the UK, ending in a sold-out season at the Edinburgh Festival.
Nice.
The Fringe Festival, I'm assuming. That's what they mean.
Yes.
Mullarkey,
It wasn't fringe back then, though.
No, it was just a festival.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mullarkey played the mod agent who gives Austin Powers back his belongings after being unfrozen, including a Swedish penis pump in Austin Powers' International Man of Mystery.
That's not mine, baby.
With a book of Austin Powers and my Swedish penis pump.
All right.
According to Myers, they changed the story and many of the comedic moments in So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Yeah, they totally tailored it toward his comedy.
Yeah. Fox was asked to consider a new set of credits that gave him a story by and co-screenplay credit, but he rejected the proposal, and in arbitration, the Writers Guild of America decided that Fox would receive sole screenwriting credit.
All right.
Mullarkey has never received a dime for this movie.
That's malarkey.
Yeah.
Malarkey.
Fried and Myers were upset that Mullarkey, who had put much work into the script, did not receive any credit. Around this time, they hired Tommy Schlamme to direct the film.
I like to go by Thomas Schlamme.
A lot of weird names in this story.
Thomas Schlamme.
He actually directed the first I Want My MTV advertising campaign in 1981,
Awesome.
which was literally going up to people and saying, just say I want my MTV.
Yeah. That was groundbreaking.
Yeah. Schlamme made his feature film directing debut with Miss Firecracker in 1989, starring Holly Hunter, Mary Steenburgen, Tim Robbins, Alfred Woodard, and Scott Glenn.
It was pretty good.
Do you remember it?
Yeah, I kind of remember it. I'm still a huge Holly Hunter fan, so I would see anything she was in. And I vaguely remember it. It might have been about a pageant or something. It's one of those films that just falls into the void.
I definitely have never seen it.
Good cast.
Schlamme would go on to work extensively with Aaron Sorkin, creating the long take walk and talk that would epitomize shows like The West Wing and ER and stuff like that. Yeah. So Charlie was actually originally written with Chevy Chase in mind.
Is everything originally written for Chevy Chase in mind? It sounds like everything was written for Chevy Chase in mind.
Yeah, apparently only Hitchcockian comedies. They just wanted to. They were like, foul play was so good, we got to do more.
And Chevy Chase was like 60, wasn't he, at this time?
No.
Yeah, in the 90 or 50?
That was 93. That was like 30 years ago. That would make him 90 now.
He's like 80, so he was like 50.
Yeah, he was too old to play this character.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
It's a 20.
He just wasn't 60.
Well, look, let's be honest. A movie about a guy in his 20s that's commitment phobic is fun. A movie about a guy in his 50s who's commitment phobic is sad. Just look at me.
Unfortunately, Chevy Chase hated the script and the character and passed.
Big surprise.
Yeah. Albert Brooks and Martin Short both passed for the same reason. Neither of them liked the script. Neither of them were really right for the part.
Was the script written for a middle-aged man at the time?
I mean, maybe originally, and then Mike Myers, when he came on, they rewrote it for him.
Maybe that's what it was. They had to age it down. I don't know. It's both brilliant actors, but come on.
Even weirder, Woody Allen was offered the part, but turned it down for reasons unknown.
Yeah, she's got to be 18, 16. No, we're not doing that, Woody.
We're gonna
pass.
Well, good, because we were gonna pass on you. Yeah.
Can the character be my stepdaughter?
So gross. God, he's so gross.
He is gross.
Myers began performing in commercials at 2 years old. At the age of 10, he made a commercial for British Columbia Hydro with Gilda Radner playing his mother.
Nice.
He's from Canada. I don't know if you know that.
Well, yes. I did know that, but also I think the Hydra thing gave it away.
Right. After graduating from high school, Myers was accepted into the Second City Canadian Touring Company. He moved to the United Kingdom, and in 1985, he was one of the founding members of the Comedy Store Players, an improvisational group based at the Comedy Store in London.
Ooh.
He was doing all the improv.
That's right, eh? I was in Canadian for a while, eh?
It was in Canadian?
I'm Canadian. Yeah, that's what Canadians call Canada.
Oh,
Canadian.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, you're not a local, eh? So you just stick it, hoser.
He returned to Toronto and the Second City in 1986 as a cast member in the Second City's Toronto main stage show, Second City Theatre.
Hey, welcome back, eh? Hope you had fun in Englandia.
In 1988, he moved from Second City in Toronto to Chicago. There he trained, performed, and taught at the Improv Olympic. which doesn't exist anymore.
No.
Myers began appearing on Saturday Night Live on January 21st, 1989, eventually became the first repertory player added to the show's cast in over 2 years.
Yeah, it was crazy because he didn't have to audition either, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
He was just this. I just remember David Spade and a couple other people talking about when he was brought in, and I was like, oh, here comes the big guy. I didn't know. Ooh, he's handpicked and blue, and ooh, sneaky snoo. And then they're just like, oh, he's brilliant.
He's actually really good.
Yeah, he's so good.
He makes us all look better.
He was one of the absolute best.
Yeah.
He's the top 5, I would say.
He was on SNL for like 6 years. He actually took time off of SNL to shoot So I Married an Axe Murderer. He appeared in 121 episodes of the show.
So good. And so many, not just Wayne and I was going to say So I Married an Axe Murderer, which wasn't a SNL film, but, Sprockets.
Yeah.
And
he was brilliant. Everything he did was golden.
And he was just a solid player. He, Phil Hartman, Dana Carvey.
Didn't he do the old Jewish lady or the Jewish lady?
Coffee Talk.
Yeah, Coffee Talk. Yeah.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Talk amongst yourselves. I'm schwitzing. I'm schwitzing.
I'm verklempt. I'm feeling verklempt.
Yeah. Yeah, he was great. He actually ended up leaving SNL because by that point, like Will Ferrell had come on and some other guy, and he didn't just connect with them. So he was like, "Yeah, I'm good."
I get it. Yeah,
and took off.
It's funny when I started the Groundlings.
You founded the Groundlings?
When I founded the Groundlings, people don't know that. I should be a lot richer. No, but when I was taking
no money in
classes
improv.
really, I spent 10 years of my life trying to figure that. 20 years of my life trying to figure that lesson out. Still haven't learned.
Yeah.
But when I first started taking classes there, that was the time it overlapped with Sherry O'Terry and Will Ferrell, and I remember them leaving and
to go become rich and famous.
Yes, and everybody was just
one of them.
Yeah.
Don't know what happened to that Will Ferrell guy.
And whatever happened to him?
Yeah.
I just watched Quiz Show. He was great in that.
Was he in that?
Quiz Lady.
Oh, he was. I didn't know he was in that.
He played the Alex Trebek.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
So it's very sweet.
Okay.
Not like a
I didn't realize he was
crazy
in that.
Will Ferrell performance. Very sweet performance.
So while Myers was huge on SNL, it was Wayne's World that made him a superstar. Made $183 million from a $20 million budget.
Juggernaut.
Huge movie. It was the 10th highest grossing film of 1992 and remains the highest grossing film based on an SNL sketch.
Well, they did such a smart thing of waiting for a while. They let the Wayne's World sketch really ruminate, develop, and become a completely fully formed thing.
Yeah.
And then they made a movie that really built upon that and made an interesting story. Because the problem with making a movie based on a sketch or a character or a catchphrase, which sometimes they do, I'm looking at you, Lorne Michaels.
Yeah.
But when this movie, they built upon the premise of the sketch and created a great story.
Yeah.
About the character.
It was expanding on the sketch and like giving it a full story treatment, and it was good.
And the most important thing is the crux of the movie was the relationship between Wayne and Garth.
Right.
And that was the heart of the movie, and that's what kept it from, just being another Saturday Night Live, Coneheads, or
right. Or Night at the Roxbury.
Wayne's World transcended the formula for the Saturday Night Live movie, which was usually pretty effing thin. It was just a quick cash grab.
I mean, most of the sketches are pretty thin.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it was a very well-written movie.
Yes, and well acted. And the sheer talent of Mike Myers and Dana Carvey in their chemistry together really, it pushed it forward because there was each character didn't really have ego. No. And it didn't turn in. And they made fun of the whole, turning against each other and coming back together thing. And it made fun of the tropes. Just had a really good time and embraced and expanded upon everything that made the sketch great, rather than most of the movies, which just pound a stale concept into the ground until you just want to run from the theater.
Night of the Roxbury.
Night of the Roxbury.
So Sir Sean Connery was the first choice to play Stuart McKenzie, Charlie's dad.
Go on, you've stayed your hour.
Oh, it would have been so good.
Hit, punch.
I mean,
no.
It was great what they ended up doing, but Sean Connery would have been phenomenal.
Look at the size of that boy's head. It's gargantuan. It's like Sputnik.
It's a virtual planetoid.
Head, move. Oh, a little offsides on that one.
Connery actually loved the script and really wanted to do it. Unfortunately, he was booked with other films and had to decline.
Such a shame, too, because I guarantee you, whatever film he did at that time wasn't good.
This was better.
Unless it was
would
The
have
Rock.
been a much more fun part. I don't think so.
It might have been.
The Rock was after that. Maybe. It might have been. Anyway. Also, Sir Michael Caine and Sir Anthony Hopkins were both asked to play the part, but they declined after being offended by the jokes about British royalty.
Okay. They would have been fine.
I mean, they got knighted, so I'm sure they probably felt like... Whereas Sean Connery just didn't give a care.
It would have been fun to see Anthony Hopkins play the part, because I think he would have had a lot of fun with it. I think Michael Caine would have been fine, but Michael Caine's Michael Caine. He's not much of a... I don't think of like crazy comedy.
Yeah, I don't. He's a great actor.
Sure.
I just don't know if he has the comedy.
And he's very
chops.
funny. I mean, he's been in comedies
can be. Yeah,
where
that's
he's
true.
hilarious.
Yeah.
It's just he's very dry.
Yeah.
And you kind of, I really think that Sean Connery, if Sean Connery was in this movie, it would have made $1 billion.
Oh yeah, it would have been huge.
But again, Mike Myers did an incredible job.
Yeah. So that was the thing. They couldn't find a character or an actor to play Stuart Mackenzie. So the first cast read through, they did it without someone playing that part. So Mike Myers read the character's lines, and the filmmakers enjoyed his performance so much that they realized he could play the part as well. So they just said, "Hey, go play the part."
Yeah. Hey guys. Hey, it's Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Hi. Yeah. So I figured, because I was there, lurking in the background.
Yeah.
Judging. As I do,
Yeah.
As a executive. That's our job, to judge.
Right.
Now, I said, let's save $1. If he plays 2 parts, 2 parts, 1 paycheck, bing, bang, boom, save some money.
Except for the massive amount of prosthetics they had to put on him.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
It took 3.5 hours for them to put all the prosthetic makeup on.
Actually, it was only supposed to take an hour, but I told him to do it next 2.5 hours just to make him upset.
Does not seem like there's 3.5 hours of prosthetic makeup on him.
No, there doesn't. Anyway, Bob just ran away.
Sorry, bye, Bob. Go find your children.
Oh, yeah, I gotta find my kids.
Yep, okay.
Ugh.
He stinks up the whole room.
He's always behind everything, too.
Yeah. He's always behind you. He stays behind you constantly.
Hey, I'm right here. Yeah,
It didn't seem like it was that much makeup, but
if you look
I
at
don't
it, it
know.
does. Because because he does look older. It's
No,
well
it definitely,
done.
yeah.
The Coke bottom glasses really help a lot.
And they had to put that prosthetic in his mouth that made him have his mouth open all the time. Hey. Yeah.
That's actually what he looks like in real life.
His performance of Stuart was based on the mannerisms of his own father.
Nice.
So we get a little insight into Mike Myers' dad.
There was so many similarities to my stepdad.
Oh, really?
Oh,
yeah.
The old, you got people over and shows up with his underpants.
Yeah.
Yeah, the old man would come down, robe open, tidy whities. That's the thing. No boxers there. The tidy whites, which is even creepier.
That's even weirder.
I'd be like, cover up your robe, God damn it! You bring a girl over or something, and there's gross old stepdad, drink in hand.
This is what he's gonna look like later. So just get used to it.
Well,
No,
I mean,
which
because
obviously
you're
is
the
not.
stepdad, idiot.
I know.
Another drink. Yeah, but I remember that move where just the relentless teasing. Although he didn't really have any sort of that was offsides. It was nothing was offsides. Anyway, yeah, there was a couple of pings when I first saw that movie that was like.
Little much. He actually used the Stewart character in SNL, but he had called him Rankin instead of Mackenzie. But he showed up on SNL quite a bit. They achieved the Charlie and Stewart scenes by using split screen. They did it very well.
They did.
They framed it very well for it was very convincing.
Yeah, like him in the back. Like the one I liked the most was him walking down the stairs with his pants off and kind of out of focus in the background.
Yeah. It's just like, here he comes. Yeah.
And Brenda Fricker, man, she deals with him so lovingly, and so their relationship is so great. It's like I would almost rather see a movie about Stuart and the mom.
I do. I definitely want to see a sequel with Stuart and the mom celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary or something.
So great.
Yeah. Nancy Travis was cast as Harriet Michaels. Kim Basinger was actually offered the part of Harriet but declined.
Okay.
Sharon Stone read the script and loved it and really wanted to play the part.
Would have been great.
In fact, she loved it so much she wanted to play Harriet and Rose.
Ooh, she was. Oh, you know why? Because she did that on Magnum PI. She played twins before.
Twins, yeah.
And she did it great.
Studio said no, so she just dropped out.
What a stupids. I mean, look, I think Nancy Travis was the perfect pick. I love her in this.
Yes.
But if you were going to make a movie about a woman who might be a killer, Sharon Stone, Basic Instinct, it's just people would have loved it.
Yeah. So they turned to Nancy Travis, which I don't have confirmation of this, but I think at the time she was actually dating Fried, the producer.
Oh, really?
So I think that's why she got the part. She began her career in off-Broadway theater before her first leading screen role in the ABC television miniseries Harem opposite Omar Sharif in 1986.
Yeah.
Hey, surprise! Omar Sharif was still alive in 1986. I thought he was dead.
No, Omar Sharif was like a bad penny. No, Omar Sharif was great, but yeah, he lasted for quite a while.
Her breakthrough came in 1987, playing Sylvia Bennington in the comedy film 3 Men and a Baby.
Oh, great! And she also, I think, one of her first roles was Married to the Mob.
Yeah, I think so.
Where she played like one of the love interests.
The malls.
One of the malls. I was going to
malls.
say mall.
Yeah.
MOLL,
Yeah,
not
the mall.
MALL.
Not a mall like you go to the mall, but you want to go to the mall. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right. That's enough. But yeah, she was in that. She's just another one of those that I just adored her. She was such a solid actor.
I had a huge crush on her because of this movie.
Oh, yeah.
And 3 Men and a Baby, I was like, but this movie, oh my God, I just was like.
Well, because she was a strong
radiant.
woman. Yeah, she owns her own business. She's a bitcher.
Yeah.
And
it has a huge place in San Francisco.
Yeah, we were both like, how do you afford? Well, she's a business owner.
She's not just she's like a downtown San Francisco butcher, which I'm sure the place she's in probably costs $1,000, $10,000 a month.
Well, back then probably not, but also
it
was
a commercial place.
Sure.
Like her butcher.
But it's so successful. I mean, it was so busy that Mike Myers had to come in and help her
help
out.
And meet cute.
Yeah, I'd be like, look, buddy, if you're going to help out. Cut the shtick.
Yeah,
quit scaring my customers.
Scaring away my customers.
Weirdo.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to see that.
In 1993, she was also in The Vanishing with Kiefer Sutherland, Jeff Bridges, and Sandra Bullock.
A remake of a very good movie.
I really like The Vanishing.
It's good.
I like the original, but I really like because Jeff Bridges is just so creepy in it.
If you want to see what happened to your wife, you have to drink this and get into the trunk.
I think it's one of the best things Kiefer Sutherland's done. But that's
yeah, he was great. It was awesome to see Jeff Bridges doing Werner Herzog.
It was such a weird choice, but it was so fantastic. Anyway,
drink what's in this, and I will show you where your wife is.
It was directed by the same guy who did the original.
Oh, good.
So I mean,
yes.
it's like it was his American version of the movie.
It was good, but just like most everything, there's a few exceptions, but usually
he made the choice to change the ending because he didn't think that American audiences would accept the original ending,
which was so much better.
I agree, but anyway, we'll at some point talk about The Vanishing.
Yeah.
Was
it like Sandra Bullock in that as the vanished?
Yeah, she's the one that disappears. Yeah. Nancy Travis interviewed a butcher to better understand her character's profession and to find out what traits a butcher possesses.
What you do is a butcher.
Well, you raise the knife and you slam it down.
She was very believable as a butcher.
She was, actually. I totally bought it. According to Travis, the one thing the butcher constantly emphasized was to keep her eyes on the meat during cutting so as not to injure herself.
Yeah, that's what porn directors say, too.
Keep your eye on the meat.
It's not to injure yourself.
While shooting scenes in the butcher shop, Nancy Travis was distracted by Mike Myers' antics and accidentally cut off the tip of her middle finger on her left hand when chopping vegetables with a kitchen knife.
Ouch.
She kept shouting, "Cut, cut, cut," which she meant literally, although the crew initially thought she was referring to the term for stopping the shooting of a scene. A local doctor sewed it back on.
She was saying, cut, I got cut.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. Which, I mean, technically yelling out cut after you got cut would be good because then they would actually stop shooting.
Sure, and you're probably not thinking super straight when you just cut off part of your body.
Literally cut off part of your finger. You can actually see a Band-Aid on her finger when she retrieves the wedding rings from the talcum powder.
Oh, yeah.
And then there was a scene when they were in bed together.
Where for a lot of the movie, she's got a Band-Aid on.
Yeah.
Well, it takes a while to heal a severed finger,
while,
Adam, and it's gross looking without the Band-Aid.
She and Mike Myers did a lot of improvising together, and he taught her a lot about comedy and showed her
how to be relaxed and spontaneous on the set.
Yeah, it's always nice when it's like, hey, you're good at this. And
Well,
I wanna learn.
you can see like the improvised moments because they're very natural.
Yeah.
And once you have a good rapport with somebody, you can improvise. And
Yeah,
it makes it,
yeah,
you need a lot of rehearsal and you need a lot of,
You have to-
trust and things going on, and you have to have the ability to improvise. And,
Okay, yes, that is a huge part of it.
there's a lot of actors that would work on like a Judd Apatow thing. Apatow?
Apatow, Judd Apatow.
Judd Apatow's counterpoint from
Judd
Spain.
Apatow.
I don't know.
He's like Judd Apatow 1.
Judd Apatow 1, Judd Apatow 2. Thank you, Adam. Much better joke. Honestly. But, actors that weren't comfortable improvising had a really tough time on that set.
Yeah.
On his sets. Because,
yeah.
There's...
I'm not good at improvising. I mean, I think I'm good at it with you because you're good at it.
Thanks.
But like I would never like jump into an improv scene or anything. I mean, it would be scary. It would be scary, Jim.
Well, I think... Okay. Well, then we got to do it then.
Travis and producer Robert Fried married shortly after production ended. She can most recently be seen in the Hallmark Channel neo-western Ride and guest starring in an episode of Law & Order Special Victims Unit.
She was great on that. I saw that because I'm a super fan.
She's still out there acting. It's great.
Which is great. And she shows up a lot. She's a little older now. She's playing moms and stuff. But she still always gives a solid performance. And it's always a joy to see her show up on your screens.
Yeah, Anthony LaPaglia was cast as Tony Giardino. Tony Giardino? Yeah.
He's a very guttural speaker.
He is. I find Anthony LaPaglia to be fascinating.
Oh my God, I love Anthony LaPaglia.
Because his name, I think he's Italian, but he's not.
No, he's Australian, isn't he?
But he's not because anyway, we'll talk about it. Mike Myers wanted originally Dan Aykroyd to play Tony because Myers idolized Aykroyd's work on Saturday Night Live and was inspired to become a comedian largely from Dan Aykroyd.
Would have been cool, but still a little too old to be his best buddy.
Yeah, would have been a little weird.
Yeah.
Aykroyd reluctantly declined the role because he agreed to make Coneheads at the exact same time.
Well, he made the right choice on that one. Actually, Coneheads isn't that bad a movie.
It's actually funny. It's a weirdly subversive movie.
It is, and it's I would say it's one of the better Saturday Night Live movies.
Yes.
And plus you've got Chris Farley.
Yeah. Yeah, he's great. Yeah, let's all take a moment for Chris Farley.
Oh.
David Spade was also considered, but was encouraged by Lorne Michaels to instead appear in Coneheads as well.
I think it would be very good for you to be in Coneheads rather than this non-Saturday Night Live produced movie.
I absolutely could not picture David Spade playing Tony.
No. Well, it'd be a completely different part.
Yeah. Steve Guttenberg was also offered the role of Tony, but declined as he was tired of playing police officers after making 4 Police Academy movies.
The Goot. Bad choice, Goots.
It would have been. I know.
Because
what else was Steve Guttenberg doing at that time?
But good choice for the movie because, as much as I enjoy Steve Guttenberg, I just don't think he would have been right for this part.
No. Jeff Daniels was offered the role of Tony, but decided to make Gettysburg instead.
Okay.
He just wanted to grow a really big mustache.
The opposite.
Eventually, Anthony LaPaglia was chosen because the producers liked his performance in the Alan Alda film Betsy's Wedding in 1990.
As we all did.
Yeah. Betsy's Wedding? Mm-hmm. I've never actually seen it.
It's not bad.
It's not. Okay. LaPaglia is actually Australian, a fact that I constantly forget because he rarely uses his Australian accent in his work.
He does now. He does now that he plays heavies.
Yes, he does it more now. He actually adopted an American accent to help him get acting work after moving to the U.S. And it's not American nor Australian. It's like a weird combination of both. It's super weird. It's not. The most recent thing I'd seen him before this was his long stint on Frasier,
right?
Which he ended up winning an Emmy for.
Didn't he have an accent, like an English accent?
It was English, but he was like super like the dirty London, like not dirty London. You know what I mean? Like the
dirty London,
like the deep like blue collar London,
right?
Whatever that word is that I can't think of for that accent.
Cockney?
Cockney. It was very Cockney, yeah. LaPaglia was actually working in Adelaide in Australia as a shoe salesman for Florsheim Shoes in the early 80s. Remember Florsheim?
Sure.
He asked to be transferred to the U.S. and continued working there while studying acting as he was rejected by the prestigious Sydney Drama School, NIDA, N-I-D-A. Yeah, he was rejected, so he said, hey, shoe company, send me to America.
Okay, you could do that back then.
Yeah. LaPaglia's earliest credit was a 1985 part in an episode of the television series Steven Spielberg's Amazing Stories.
Yeah.
Yeah. His first feature film was Cold Steel in 1987. 1997, starring Brad Davis, Sharon Stone, Jonathan Banks, and Adam Ant.
Such a good movie. I don't know. It's not a very good movie.
I don't know who Brad Davis is.
Brad Davis, he was in Always with Richard Dreyfuss.
Oh, okay.
He played the guy that she fell in love with.
Oh, okay.
That's Brad Davis.
Okay.
He had a really interesting career for about 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
But he was a good, solid actor. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Brad Davis.
LaPaglia won a Tony for his role in the revival of Arthur Miller's A View from a Bridge, and an Emmy for his guest role as Simon Moon on Frasier. Which he was the most annoying character, but he did very well.
Yeah.
LaPaglia can most recently be seen in Florida Man, the Netflix show, appearing in 7 episodes, and on the USA Network in reruns of Without a Trace, which LaPaglia appeared in 160 episodes that they literally air like 10 times a day.
You know, that's one of the ones I've never watched.
Without a Trace?
Yeah, because I think it's more about like abductions.
It's about kidnappings and stuff, yeah.
If it ain't serial killers, I don't give a F. Give me some killers. He was so good in this movie.
He's so good.
Such a natural comedic ability.
Yeah.
His scenes with Alan Arkin are just brilliant.
So favorite, yeah.
The thing about this movie that is so much fun is that they play against all the tropes,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And one of the greatest things, and I love calling out stuff. It's like, I used to want to be a cop because of watching cop movies.
Right.
And this 100% would have been the reality. Like, I got into it because I wanted to get into conscience. And
I thought I was going to be Serpico.
Yeah, and I'm just doing paperwork. But paperwork is a very important part of what we do. And that's another thing. You're too nice. And it's just the whole point of it, and then...
It's so great.
And then the fact that the chief or whatever,
Yeah.
Alan Arkin, is so nice
Yeah.
that he studies and works hard to be the character that LaPaglia
he wants him to be so happy that he's like, I'll do it.
One of my favorite moments in the movie is when he first is like, I tell you what, you spaghetti eater, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And then LaPaglia leaves and immediately Arkin is like chewing on his finger and he's like, he's immediate change in character.
Yeah.
And so much looks like what I would think like Alan Arkin between takes, right?
Probably wondering if his performance was good or not.
And then LaPaglia comes in, he's like, that was great. Oh my God, that was
God.
Really? This wasn't too much? And he comes out again, he's like, look, paisan, and not now.
Yes. It was so great. All those scenes are fantastic.
So great. And Alan Arkin is just so amazing.
Yeah. Amanda Plummer was cast as Rose Michaels, Harriet's sister.
Yes.
Ellen DeGeneres expressed interest in the role of Harriet's sister, but the producers considered her too funny for such a serious character.
100%. No offense to her, but...
Has anybody ever applied too funny to Ellen DeGeneres?
Wow. Somebody don't like Ellen.
I'm not a fan of Ellen DeGeneres.
I think Ellen's funny. I used to really, really like her stand-up, when she first started out.
Yeah.
I think she's grown into something... monstrous, apparently.
Yeah.
Who knows? Allegedly. But yeah, I think I always found her very funny, but she's a comedian. She's not an actor.
Yeah.
And anytime, even on her show, Ellen,
Yeah.
it was the people around her that made her, it's like Seinfeld, it's like the people around him made him great on that show because all he had to do was be him.
Right.
And the same thing with her. And yeah, I don't think she would have been right.
Plummer is the only daughter of Tony Award-winning actress Tammy Grimes and Christopher Plummer. Christopher Plummer has also won an Academy Award and 2 Emmys, making him Canada's only recipient of the Triple Crown of Acting.
Nice.
Yeah, Christopher Plummer's amazing.
Christopher Plummer.
And has a weird daughter.
Yes. I made you.
Amanda made her film debut in 1981's Cattle Annie and Little Britches, co-starring Burt Lancaster, John Savage, Rod Steiger, and Diane Lane.
Now, was she Cattle Annie or was she Little Britches?
I think she was Little Britches.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means.
In 1991, she was in The Fisher King, starring Robin Williams and Jeff Bridges, directed by Terry Gilliam.
Oh, God, it's such a good movie.
It's a great movie. Plummer would be nominated for a BAFTA and a Chicago Film Critics Association Award for her part in The Fisher King. In 1992, just before her appearance in So I Married an Axe Murderer, she co-starred in the TV movie Miss Rose White with Keira Sedgwick.
Nice.
She would win an Emmy for Best Supporting Actress for her part in that TV film. Plummer would go on to win 2 more Emmys, Best Outstanding Guest in a Drama Series twice, in 1996 for The Outer Limits.
Ooh.
In 2005, she won a Best Outstanding Guest in a Drama Emmy for Law & Order Special Victims Unit, where she played a woman with schizophrenia.
It was an incredible performance.
Oh, I imagine. She's a great actor.
An incredible actor. Unfortunately, she's got a weird voice.
And a weird face.
A very distinct voice and a very distinct face. And she is so good at playing unhinged or crazy
off,
or murderous. She is just so good at playing fringe characters or characters, believable characters with believable issues. Like she is very good at playing the truth rather than the stereotype.
And she was fantastic in this. Like she was so creepy and weird, and you identified so much with Michael Myers when it's like, do you want some eggs and toast and bacon?
They're
and then,
meat. Sorry, I thought you were somebody else. Sorry. He sees her in the shower.
And then he comes downstairs and she's fully dressed sitting on the couch.
And he gives the double take.
It was so great.
How about silver dollar pancakes?
Yes. Yeah.
Bacon and Kona coffee. The way she says Kona
Kona
coffee.
coffee.
Kona coffee. And then it's like,
And it's
sorry we didn't have any of those
Fruit
things.
Loops.
Fruit Loops are good too.
I really like Apple Jacks.
But yeah, she did a really, and if you watch it again, I've seen this movie probably 1,000 times.
Yeah.
That's an exaggeration, but I've seen this movie several times.
Yeah.
And this time I really paid attention to her character to see the subtle clues about Rose being the killer. And her reactions are so layered and subtle.
Yeah, she's
and
phenomenal.
She sells it like a champ. I mean, it is such a great performance.
Yeah. She can most recently be seen in the 3rd season of Star Trek Picard.
Yes.
Playing the baddie.
Oh, she was so
I know.
good.
I still need to watch it.
But her character on that is effing
phenomenal.
Scary.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
Just like, it's good to see her in just full plumber mode, baby. She's plumbing the depths of that talent of hers.
So there are a ton of cameos and guest appearances, and So I Married an Axe Murderer as working with Michael Myers was a huge draw for a ton of the actors.
Because he was successful.
Yeah.
Not so much of a draw after the Guru.
Michael Richards was cast as the insensitive man.
So funny.
So great. Tim Allen was actually offered the role, but scheduling conflicts with Home Improvement prevented him from participating in the movie.
He would have been great, too.
And, weirdly enough, Jack Nicholson was asked.
He would have been great, too.
But he wanted too much money, and so he was passed over.
That's right. I'm an insensitive man. Look at the insensitive man in front of you.
Dustin Hoffman was also asked, but took a small hiatus from acting in films around that time.
Look at the insensitive man. Look at the insensitive man here. Is it safe?
It's just, but Michael Richards is so phenomenal in that.
Just great. And then we just...
I just love that it's Charlie just keep going. So, but what is
what about
like
the
what?
wife?
But
What happened to the...
Oh, I know.
Oh, I know. I'm an insensitive man. Everybody, look at the insensitive man.
No, but really, what about the wife?
What about the wife?
So great. So great. Richard's last acting role was in Faith, Hope, and Love in 2019 as Daddy Hogwood.
I don't know who said it, but it was somebody famous that just as we shouldn't judge somebody on the best day of their lives, we shouldn't judge them on the worst day of their lives.
Pretty sure that was Hitler.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well,
he would know.
Brenda Fricker was cast as Mae McKenzie,
Speaking of Hitler.
Charlie's mom. Mike Myers originally wanted Jane Fonda to play Mae, but was unaware she had retired from acting 3 years earlier after her film Stanley and Iris flopped at the box office in 1990.
That didn't
and
stick.
After marrying Ted Turner in 1991. It took her like 14 years to start, or 13 years. But her movie she did after that was Monster-in-Law, which was like, it was like in like 2010 or
Yeah.
2011.
No, she did really take a long hiatus.
She took a long time.
She's great, but no. I mean...
No, I agree. I mean, Brenda Fricker was a much better choice.
Because Brenda Fricker has such a strong presence. Like, even though her husband's an a-hole and abusive or whatever, she doesn't take it. She doesn't pay attention. Like, when he's like, get out of here or whatever, she's just like, hey, did you happen to see? And it's just like singing at him like, F you. It's basically a singing F you.
Plus, she just manhandles Tony all the time.
The way she looks at him, you've turned out to be a right sexy bastard. Oh, look at you. And like looking at him as he's like,
that super uncomfortable kiss with Mike Myers just standing right there like, I don't know what to do right now.
At the wedding, she's just grabbing his ass.
So you know that somebody's been through that where it's like, Mom, what are you doing?
It's just like she finds your friend super. I was that friend usually.
You made out with a lot of moms?
Yeah.
Or they made out with you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, come on, let's be honest. I don't think I ever made out with a friend's mom.
Tina Turner, Anne Bancroft, Terry Garr, and Glenn Close were also offered the role of Mae, but they all were unavailable.
Kind of would have liked to see Tina Turner. Honestly.
That would have been interesting.
She would have been great. I mean, it would have been a very different part, but I think she would have been hilarious.
Yeah.
And seeing them together as a couple. Plus, it's like, how does that work?
Yeah, I don't know. I
mean, Mike Myers is the whitest man.
He is, well, he's Canadian.
Hey. But there's not a hint of
No.
anything soulful in him. He's about as white as they come.
Goldie Hawn was also sought, and she was interested in the role, but had to turn it down because she was taking care of her sick mother at the time.
Oh.
Yeah, but she would have been good.
She would have been too, but Brenda Fricker.
Brenda Fricker.
Look, no offense to any of these other actors, but she is such a good actor, Brenda Fricker. And she raised everybody in that movie up with her performance.
And perhaps the best thing Chris Columbus ever did, when he was attached to direct, he suggested Brenda Fricker for the part of Charlie's mom, having worked with her in Home Alone 2.
Yeah.
The greatest thing Chris Columbus ever did was suggesting Brenda Fricker to be cast in this movie.
Was she the bird lady?
In Home Alone 2?
Yeah.
I think so.
Oh, Kevin.
I've only seen Home Alone 2 once.
Why do you have all those birds, you old biddy? That's what he said. And she's like, I'm not an old biddy.
That's an old biddy. Yeah. In 1990, she became the first Irish actress to win an Academy Award, earning the award for Best Supporting Actress for the biopic My Left Foot.
Oh, she was so good. You know that also Chris Columbus, he's like, if you can't get Brenda Fricker, I've got this other really great actor. He only did a really small part in the movie, but his name is Donald Trump. And he did such a good job, I think he could play the mother. He was a big champion of him.
Sure. Fricker can most recently be seen in The Catch, a British TV show. She's still acting. She's still out there.
That's
working.
great.
Yeah.
She's got to be pretty...
She's got to be up there in age, yeah. But she's still working.
I'm glad, because she is an absolute joy to watch whenever she is on screen.
Matt Doherty was cast as William Heed Mackenzie.
Heed! She's 78, by the way.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's younger than I thought she'd do.
Still looks great. And also, I want to point that out. I think Brenda Fricker is gorgeous. Those blue eyes of hers and that just twinkle.
Oh, yeah.
She's got such a twinkle and such a likability about her. I would want to make out. I would want to be the Anthony LaPaglia.
She was gorgeous. She's absolutely aged beautifully.
Just the whole package.
And I do want to point out that she was 47 when she did this movie.
That's depressing.
Yeah, I know. I mean, obviously, I think they aged her up a little bit. The hair and stuff to make her seem a little older, like Stu, but like Stewart, but because he obviously had to have been in his 60s or something.
Well, no, because they could be in their 40s. We did the math because if they've been married for 30 years. Let's say they got married when she was 17, which was a thing back then. I suppose
he was probably a little older,
right? Maybe he was 20 and she was 18 or 17, and they have a 30-year-old son.
Yeah, he was. Mike Myers was 29 when he was shooting this.
So they were married a year and then had
a kid.
So she could be in her 40s.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. I think that they probably, because Stewart was aged up. He seemed much older than her.
Stewart.
Yeah. But I mean, it's also possible too. Maybe he was older than her and she was 17.
Maybe it was some sort of
who knows what
deal.
Maybe it happened.
She had a dowry.
It's Scotland. Who knows?
How many goats did he get?
So Matt Doherty, he made his feature film debut in Home Alone as Stefan, if you remember him. And he wasn't in the movie for very long, but he's one of the cousins that was in the he also appeared in all the Mighty Ducks movies as Les Averman.
Nice.
He most recently can be seen in the Disney Plus series The Mighty Ducks Game Changers.
I have not seen any of those.
I think I've seen the first movie, but I've not watched any of the others.
Pacey from
Joshua Jackson.
Joshua Jackson was in those movies.
Oh, is he?
You know who else was in those movies? Kenan Thompson.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. All right.
Yeah, that makes you feel old.
Yeah, it does. Charles Grodin was cast as the commandeer driver, or not commandeer driver.
Oh, God. There is no better dick on the planet than Charles Grodin.
I'm sorry, sir. I need to commandeer your vehicle because I have to go save my friend.
No.
The side eye is so... He would not... Unless everything was so perfectly choreographed.
I know for a fact that you can't do that.
So great.
Could you please wait for me? No.
As he's driving away.
It's just like...
But he did drive him the 40 miles to the Poets' Corner or whatever.
pissed off the entire way. But
Yeah.
Charles Grodin, not only was he great at playing a dick in movies, but he played that persona on talk shows
Oh yeah.
so beautifully.
Yeah.
It was watching him on Letterman
Yeah.
or Carson or any of them, or Conan.
So dour.
So
Just
acerbic,
dour.
but
Yeah.
so good at playing just put out, like just so annoyed. And nobody plays annoyed better than him. Although, and what's so beautiful about that is one of his most famous parts and one of his best parts ever was the opposite of that.
Yeah.
In Midnight Run, where he was the sweet guy.
wasn't- yeah, he
there
was
was
the
nothing
nice
a
guy
jerk
that
about.
was
He was
trying-
just
yeah.
a super nice guy, and that's the thing
funny.
about him. He could
a
play
great
super
actor.
nice and super jerk, and you believed it. Like there's certain actors, like Brian Dennehy, I hated seeing as a bad guy.
Yeah,
because he's just such a nice guy. But Grodin, I loved him either way.
Yeah, yeah.
And honestly, I loved his jerks more than I loved his lovables.
He had just come off the surprise hit Beethoven in 1992 about the big old dog.
Yeah, I honestly think he kind of regretted that because he was stuck to the Beethoven movies for many years.
Well, he actually had 3 other movies released in 93, along with So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Right.
Dave with Kevin Kline and Sigourney Weaver
Great movie.
is one of my guilty pleasures. I love that movie so
No
much.
guilt at all. That is a great movie.
Kevin Kline is so good in that movie. Sigourney Weaver is so good in the movie. And Charles Grodin also doesn't really play a dick. He's just like an accountant guy that's a friend of his that comes in and balances the government's budget.
He's so good at it.
It's so great.
He's and he that role too. He's just like Larry. Yeah. Larry, we're in the White House. I can't do this, Larry.
Love that movie so much.
It's a great movie. Again, no guilt
Yeah,
involved.
I know.
It's considered to be a very good movie.
It's a good movie.
It's not like you're talking about Showgirls.
I know. Well,
Speaking of Patrick Bristow,
yeah. He's also in Heart and Souls with Robert Downey Jr.
weird movie.
Very weird movie.
Did you ever see that?
I do want to say yes. I'm pretty sure I did, but I don't remember it at all.
So Robert Downey Jr. plays this guy who, since he was a baby, I think, had all these ghosts taking care of him, and so he sees all these ghosts around with him.
Okay.
And then, but he wants to get rid of the ghosts to be a regular guy or something. And
Okay.
I don't know.
I'll have to look it up. I'm sure I saw it.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad movie.
It's just weird.
But it was just like it had an interesting cast.
Yeah,
And Robert Downey Jr. was likable. I think that was still his drug years. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, interesting.
Grodin was also in Beethoven Second because they pumped out a sequel as quickly as possible.
People love dogs, baby.
Which the irony is that technically, Mighty Ducks, Wayne's World 2 came out the same year as So I Married an Axe Murderer. They literally shot that movie and got it released in 9 months.
Wow.
Like it was crazy how quickly they were like, oh my God, it's huge. And they just pumped the next one out immediately.
And it shows. 'Cause it was not very good.
It was not as good. In 1994, Grodin would star in Clifford with Martin Short, who I
You act like a normal boy.
will literally bring up every single time I can because it is such an amazingly weird movie.
Can you just act like a normal human boy?
Grodin unfortunately died from multiple myeloma at his home in Wilton, Connecticut on May 18th, 2021 at the age of 86.
Good run. Great,
God, I didn't
great
realize
actor.
he was 86. Yeah, he's such a good actor.
There is such a void left. There's
Yeah.
certain people, when they pass, that there is a void left behind. And there's
Yeah.
nobody like him. There's
Yeah.
nobody that could cross between being a jerk and a lovable guy. And also be a lovable jerk.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like he is not a good person in Clifford. at
Oh, no,
all.
no,
And I don't even think he becomes that good of a person.
No,
by
he does
the
not
end.
have any growth in that movie.
But it's still, I love him, and I love that movie.
Well, speaking of a void, Phil Hartman was cast as John Johnson. His friends call him Vicky.
I'm John Johnson. Everybody around here knows me as Vicky.
It's so great.
It is. It makes me so sad
know.
whenever I see Phil Hartman because he was just a power. Not only one of the best sketch comedians ever,
Yeah.
most versatile, and I mean, look, the guy was in just about every single sketch.
Yeah.
He must have been exhausted
Oh,
at
yeah.
the end of each Saturday Night Live because they put him in everything. He was a utility player who could play anything, and just so funny. And what made him so great is the commitment. You look at Vicky, it could just be, no offense to Will Ferrell. But if Will Ferrell played Vicky, it'd be shtick. It'd be shticky
Yeah,
Vicky.
shticky
And
Vicky,
it would be
yeah.
Will Ferrell playing Vicky, and he would, do his Will Ferrellisms. But this is such a creepy, real performance.
Yes, the absolute commitment when they cut away after he introduces himself and he's walking down the cell block, and the walk he has is so bizarre.
God, but so perfect for the
But
character.
yes, it defines the character so well.
Bring it in, bring it in, bring it in. Here's something the other tour guides won't tell you.
God, the whole thing was so weird.
He had known as a bitch. They took turns pissing in his ocular cavities. Anyway,
Yeah, and now I'm going to show you the cafeteria.
the cafeteria is this way. And the greatest part is when he's doing his ocular cavities bit, and Mike Myers is like, so anyway, shh, no. Shh.
Yeah.
And LaPaglia is, Jesus, no.
Nope.
And the look that he gives Mike Myers, and Mike Myers' reaction, it's just, there was nobody like Phil
Yeah.
Hartman, man. He was a guy that would have fit at any time. 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s,
Yeah.
60s, 70s, 80s. He was a timeless
just natural.
comedian
Yeah.
who was one of the funniest and most talented human beings on the planet.
Originally, Gary Busey was supposed to make the cameo as Vicky the Alcatraz Park Ranger, while Phil Hartman was considered to cameo as Tony's boss.
Hi there. My name's Vicky. Now I'm going to tell you about this.
I mean, I could see what that they would think that would be funny.
Sure.
I mean, it would be funny.
But it would have been less subtle. Like, it's...
Right.
I personally enjoy subtle comedy. I'm just not a fan of loud comedy.
I know.
In your face kind of stuff. And I just like,
Gary Busey's are,
He's just gonna scream at you. And
he's preaching these ocular cavities. He uses the prison beach. F-I-T-T. Fit.
okay.
Forever in together times.
okay. However, Busey decided to star in Rookie of the Year and dropped out.
Everybody decided to be in Rookie of the Year.
Yeah. When the producers informed Hartman that Alan Arkin was in talks to cameo as a police captain, he asked if he could play Vicky and was awarded the role.
Could I play Vicky?
God, he read that script and was like, I have the perfect
Oh,
character
yeah.
for this.
Look, he would have been fine as the police commander,
the chief or whatever.
but Alan Arkin was perfect.
Oh, no,
Everybody
no,
was
no.
perfect for their
Yes,
role.
yes.
That's what made this movie so great.
it shook out the way it
Yeah.
needed to, yeah. Hartman actually worked with Paul Rubens early on in his career. He helped write the Pee Wee Herman Show that aired on HBO in 1981 and co-wrote Pee Wee's Big Adventure in 1985.
Yeah, they workshopped that. And
I always forget.
yeah, no, well, they were both at the Groundlings
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
And Pee Wee started at the Groundlings.
Right.
And he helped develop that whole character and the whole.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
helped him write the sketches and stuff that they performed there before it became what
Right,
it became.
what it became. He would play Captain Carl on the 1986 show for 6 episodes until creative differences with Paul Rubens sent him looking for other work. So he would win a spot on SNL in 1986 and appear on 155 episodes over 8 seasons.
Which was more like 350 episodes for the amount of work that he
because
did.
he did a lot. Hartman supplemented his acting and writing by doing voiceover for most of his career. He did voices for
The Jetsons, Scooby-Doo, The Smurfs, Dennis the Menace, DuckTales, Tailspin, and Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, amongst others, including The Simpsons. Oh, yeah. I'm Troy McClure. You may remember me from such films as Do Right Daddy and Pick the Pickle, Piggy.
He was so phenomenal. And his voice, he could have just been doing voice work and had a stellar career.
Sure. His run on The Simpsons was amazing. He also played Lionel Hutz, the lawyer, who was addicted. Oh, you beautiful brown substance. But one of my favorite Simpsons episodes ever is he, as Troy McClure, marries Selma or Pat. I think it's Selma.
Yeah.
And it comes out that he has this fetish of having sex with fish.
Oh,
and the reason why he's marrying Stella is like a beard, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Such a good
Weird.
episode. Oh, my
Weird.
God. It is so great. That might have been during the Conan O'Brien times, too.
Oh, probably.
That was the best.
One of his last appearances was in 1998 Small Soldiers, which is actually a much better movie than I remember it being.
It really is.
On May 27th, 1998, Hartman and his wife got into an argument, and after he went to bed, she shot him 3 times.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, man. That.
Yeah, he was killed instantly because she shot him in the forehead the first time, and then she shot him in the throat and the chest.
The most shocking death ever,
Yeah.
man. I mean, who would have thought that Phil Hartman, of all people, would be killed in a drug-fueled, jealous rage?
Yeah. After confessing the murder to some friends, she locked herself in her bedroom and then shot herself. Yeah,
The kids were in the house.
Yeah. She actually called one of her friends and said, I just killed Phil. And they were like, no, you didn't. And she had to call somebody else because they wouldn't believe her.
I mean, who would?
But they had found, she was on Zoloft,
Yeah.
and she had been drinking, and they found cocaine in her system. So I feel like they had an argument at like midnight because he wasn't shot till like 3 o'clock in the morning. Like I think she just stewed on it, and then afterwards realized what she did, and it was awful.
There's something more than Zoloft and cocaine and whatever. There's something deeply wrong with her that she murdered him. I mean, that's not just something that people do.
No,
I mean it is, but rarely.
I mean, yes.
According to Dateline, it happens all the time.
I can't imagine anybody having. I can't imagine having an argument so much with a partner that it's like, well, I have to murder them now. That's it. It's like Well, yeah, I know you've done it a few times.
No, but I've been on the Phil Hartman side of like I thought I was going to get murdered.
Yeah. Anyway, it was a huge loss, and it just every time I see Phil Hartman in something, I just want to watch more Phil Hartman.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. It hit. There's a few deaths that have hit me super hard, and strangely enough, they're all Saturday Night Live deaths because the first celebrity death that floored me, that in a way that was a kind of it effed me up for a bit, was John Belushi.
Oh,
because I was a huge fan of his, and when he died, that was like the first. Plus, I had issues with death since my dad died on my third birthday, so I was lift up. But he and Phil Hartman and Chris Farley were like three, because it's sad when people die, but not that sad. No, I'm just kidding. It's it's horrible. But with these guys, all three of them were heroes of mine. Guys that I thought were the funniest guys in the world. And also, I just had so much more to give, man.
Yeah.
So much more to give.
Much longer careers, and it's just sad. It's sad that we were robbed of all of that.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, not a lot, but sometimes I'll just think about what a 50s Chris Farley would have been. Like, would he have his own show now? Would he still be doing movies? It's just, one thing is they're evergreen. They're always going to be these young, crazy, comedians that never really got to the point where their career stalled.
Right.
But, on the other hand, they were brilliant artists that could have given us decades more joy.
I want to see third chapters, man.
Yeah.
And we didn't get it.
Yeah.
Debbie Mazur was cast as Susan, Tony's girlfriend, in that one scene in the... Mazur met Madonna at Danceteria, a nightclub, and Madonna asked her to do her makeup for the music video Everybody. This was in the early 80s. Or mid-80s. Mazur was a hip-hop B-girl and appeared in 5 of Madonna's videos. She was in Papa Don't Preach, True Blue, Justify My Love, Deeper and Deeper, and Music, which Music came out in like 2010.
Oh, wow.
So she did videos with her for like 30 years.
I think they've been good friends.
Yeah. She actually started her career in a supporting role in Martin Scorsese's Goodfellas in 1990.
Oh, she was so good. She was the mistress of Hendry. The guy played by... Ray Liotta. But she was so good, and there's just these great scenes with her and Ray Liotta, these coke-fueled scenes.
Yeah.
And she and Ray Liotta both do coke impeccably. It makes me think there's a little on the set.
Yeah, it's called acting, Jim. Try it.
I tried. I'm not very good at it.
In 1982, she co-starred in Singles, Malcolm X, and Toys.
Ugh, Singles.
Yeah, Toys. Ugh.
I like Toys. That is a guilty pleasure.
Oh,
that's the Robin Williams.
Yeah.
That's
I need to see it again. It's
not a
been a
good
long
movie,
time.
but it is a guilty pleasure. I don't know. I was a huge Robin Williams fan.
Yeah.
And it's just it is a weird movie, but it's like this weird anti-war.
Yeah.
Kind of,
I literally don't think I've seen it since it came out. So but I just remember being like, what in the hell is this?
Yeah, it's not one of his betters, but it's not as bad as like What Things May Come or Patch Adams or
Jacob the Liar.
Jacob Adam. It's Jacob the Liar. They're coming for you.
A lot of things. In 1985, she would appear with Anthony LaPaglia in Empire Records.
Nice.
Played his love interest in that. She most recently can be seen in The Kill Room, starring Uma Thurman, Joe Manganiello, Maya Hawke, Dree Hemingway, and Samuel L. Jackson.
Good cast. Good for her.
I think that comes out Pretty Room.
Pretty Room?
I think that comes out pretty soon, if I remember correctly.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely want to see that.
Yeah, I think I just saw poster for it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I've always been a fan of Debbie Mazar. I think she's beautiful. She's got this exotic look to her.
She's in this movie. Her hair is so extreme. It's like
yes.
pulling her forehead all the way back.
Well, she always had kind of extreme features.
Yeah.
But she just had those crazy kind of grayish blue eyes that were very piercing, and just a beautiful actor another one who I think kind of just danced around the edges of being super famous.
Yeah.
She was in the Batman movie with Drew Barrymore. Playing Sugar and Spice or whatever they played. But she always just kind of was on the peripheral and was in these movies, not in big parts. Don't ever really remember her having a big kind of starring part.
No, she's very much been supporting.
But I've always just it kind of.
But she's had a very long career.
Oh yeah,
and,
of course, because she's super talented.
Yeah.
But it's just always kind of perplexed me why she wasn't a bigger star. I don't know.
Yeah. Stephen Wright was cast as the pilot. In 1982, Peter Lasalle, executive producer of NBC's The Tonight Show starring Johnny Carson, saw Wright performing on a bill with other local comics at the Ding Ho Comedy Club in Cambridge, a venue Wright described as
half Chinese restaurant and half comedy club. It was a pretty weird place.
LaSalle booked Wright on The Tonight Show, and Wright so impressed host Johnny Carson and the studio audience that less than a week later, he was invited to appear on the show again.
It was stratosphere with him because nobody had heard anything like him before.
Yeah.
There were so many groundbreaking comics that came out, for good or bad, whether it was him or Hickory Dickory Dock by Dice Clay.
Andrew Dice Clay.
These guys that kind of had a gimmick, but his gimmick was not so much of a gimmick as just it was him.
Yeah.
And he played that really deadpan. And his jokes were absurd.
Yeah.
Absurd.
Yeah.
In the best possible way. And he was a comic that everybody could enjoy.
Yeah.
Everybody. And there's not a lot of comics that are universally loved like that.
Right.
And he never really went too blue.
Yeah.
And it just so unique.
He was just clever. He was very clever.
Clever and 100% unique. And I have such respect for guys that are one of a kind.
Yeah.
And one of a kind is you, my friend.
Wright's 1985 comedy album, I Have a Pony, was released on Warner Brothers Records, received critical acclaim, and was nominated for the Grammy Award for Best Comedy Album.
I had it.
The album's success landed him an HBO special in the On Location series taped at Wolfgang's in San Francisco. It was broadcast as a Stephen Wright special.
A Stephen Wright special.
The performance became one of HBO's longest-running and most requested comedy specials and propelled him to great success on the college arena concert circuit.
Oh, yeah.
In 1989, Wright and fellow producer Dean Parasot won an Academy Award for their 30-minute short film The Appointments of Dennis Jennings, directed by Parasot, written by Mike Armstrong and Wright, and starring Wright and Rowan Atkinson.
Such an odd pairing.
He won an Academy Award.
I don't think I've seen this.
I think we should. I think we can find it.
I hope so.
Upon accepting the Oscar, Wright said,
"We're really glad that we cut out the other 60 minutes."
He's so great.
He's so great.
Have you ever done this before?
Oh, yeah. Never at night.
He received 2 Emmy nominations as part of the producing team of Louie, first in 2014 and then again in 2015.
Yeah.
His last credit was for the Emoji Movie in 20,000. So 20,000, Jesus.
20,000?
Yeah. His last credit was for the Emoji Movie in 2017. He hasn't done anything since then. I don't know what I think he's mostly producing now.
Well, I mean, after you've done the Emoji Movie, you've kind of hit the pinnacle of
what do you
whatever
do?
there is to do. Everything's down from there.
Yeah.
I think he played poop. No.
I don't think he played poop.
I think Sir Patrick Stewart played poop.
Yeah. I never saw the
poop.
Emoji Movie, so I can't tell you. But it was like Uncle Max or something he played, something like that. Jesse Nelson was cast as Ralph, the male-named woman in
Ralph.
yeah. She's actually more of a director than an actor. She began her directing career with the award-winning short film To the Moon, Alice, in 1990, which she also wrote. That film starred Chris Cooper and was part of a television program for Showtime called the Showtime 30-Minute Movie.
Was it about the honeymooners?
I don't know.
Well, because that's the
To
the moon,
line.
Alice.
I don't know. I mean, maybe. Maybe it was about somebody named Alice going to the moon.
Okay.
So
you don't know?
I didn't see it. I don't know.
Okay. Well, you better see it.
Her first feature film was Karina in 1994, which she wrote, directed, and produced. Starred Whoopi Goldberg and Ray Liotta.
That was a weird movie. It wasn't bad, but it was weird.
Inspired by her life. So
He had a weird life. It wasn't a bad life, but it was a weird
sure
life.
I've seen it. But
Yeah, I've seen it.
She went on to write, direct, and produce I Am Sam in 2001, starring Sean Penn.
That was fine.
It was fine. Yeah.
Dakota Fanning was amazing in that movie.
She was great.
Most
recently, she collaborated with Sarah Bareilles to write Waitress, the musical, which was at the Pantages not too long ago. Funny thing is that I didn't realize Jessie Nelson is in this movie for like 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
And gets to hang out with a naked Michael Myers. But like, the funny thing is that the first like 10 times I saw this movie, I always thought that it was Terminator lady.
Linda Hamilton?
Linda Hamilton. Like, she looks just enough like Linda Hamilton that I was like, oh, they had Linda Hamilton be in this part. It's super weird.
Yeah, no, that totally that tracks. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. But I realize now that obviously she's not.
Call me. That's what she's. That's what he says to her. I
I
totally threw you off.
I know. I was like, what? But I just love the fact that he was like the towel falls down and she just immediately goes to grab his butt.
Yes.
It's just like, okay. Alan Arkin was cast as Tony's captain. John Candy was the first choice to make a cameo as Tony's police captain boss because Mike Myers has always wanted to work with him.
He would have been great.
He felt his nice guy image would be perfect for the part, but Candy had agreed to make Rookie of the Year and was unavailable.
Again, that's who.
It was with Gary Busey.
Effing Rookie of the Year ruined everything for everybody.
Although that's kind of a guilty pleasure for me. Rick Moranis was also offered the role, but had his hands full with other projects.
Again, perfect.
Would have been good
for the role.
Arkin is uncredited in So I Married an Axe Murderer.
Weird.
Funny enough, I don't know why. But he does not. He's not listed in the credits at all.
Oh, he's so good.
He started his career in the 1950s as a singer and guitarist in the folk group The Terriers.
So weird.
They had 2 hits in 1956 and 1957: "Cindy Oh Cindy" and "Deo," the Banana Boat song.
Deo.
They performed Deo in another song in the 1957 film Calypso Heatwave, in which Arkin made his film acting debut.
Morning come on, me won't go home. Deo.
Arkin was an early member of the Second City Comedy Troupe in the 60s.
Oh, yeah.
In 1963, he starred in Enter Laughing on Broadway and received a Tony Award.
Weird. Enter Laughing was the first play that I starred in.
Wow.
Yes. It's a tough play, man.
Yeah.
The lead is in every single scene.
Oh, wow. Arkin was nominated 4 times for an Academy Award. He was nominated for Best Actor at the Academy Awards in 1967 for The Russians Are Coming. The Russians Are Coming.
Oh, that's funny. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, it's a good movie.
He actually lost to Paul Scofield in A Man for All Seasons.
Of course he did.
He was nominated for Best Actor again in 1969 for The Heart is a Lonely Hunter, but lost to Cliff Robertson in Charlie.
Yeah. I kind of remember Heart is Lonely Hunter.
Yeah.
But I don't remember it very well.
Arkin was nominated for Best Supporting Actor in 2007 for Little Miss Sunshine, which he won, and in 2013 for Argo, losing to Christoph Waltz in Django Unchained.
Yeah. Man, Little Miss Sunshine. What an amazing performance. Yeah. I mean, that movie's good, and everybody's really good in it, but he stands out as just
he's so phenomenal.
As the heroin-addicted grandpa. And I just love the fact that it's like, yeah, I'm old. I'm going to die. I'm going to do heroin. I'm going to do whatever I want.
I'm going to do what I want.
It's my time to shine, baby.
He was nominated 6 times for an Emmy Award, but never won. Sadly, he suffered from heart problems most of his life and passed away on June 29th, 2023 at the age of 89.
That's a good run for somebody with a lot of heart problems.
Yeah. Greg German was cast as the concierge at the Poets' Corner.
Oh, Greg.
Best known for playing Richard Fish on Ally McBeal and his appearances on Grey's Anatomy and Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, always mostly playing a jerk. He's a good jerk.
Yeah. Patrick Bristow was the Cafe Rhodes performer who looks like Carrot Top but isn't.
Well, because they gave him that crazy wig.
Bristow's more well-known roles are as Peter on Ellen, Seinfeld's The Wig Master, ironically enough.
Yes.
His recurring role as the Machiavellian Troy on Mad About You, and Larry David's choreographer on Curb Your Enthusiasm.
And let's not forget that he was also the choreographer in Showgirls.
Yeah.
Come on, ladies.
I forget Showgirls constantly.
Patrick, I knew Patrick Bristow back because he was in the Groundlings when I was there.
Yeah.
One of the teachers and one of the main performers at the time. He is one of the most amazing improvisers, man.
Wow.
Watching him on stage, just a master. There's certain guys. Mike McDonald, who was in Austin Powers. Mm-hmm. These guys, they didn't get a ton of, movie or TV roles.
Yeah.
But in terms of improvising, man, or sketch comedy, there's some of the funniest human beings on the planet.
Bristow was on Whose Line Is It Anyway quite a bit. He would make appearances quite a bit.
Hilarious. And a really nice guy, too.
Yeah.
Very sweet guy.
I also do want to mention Mike Haggerty, who plays the obituary writer in the Insensitive Man scene.
Yeah, he's the guy that always talks like this.
Yeah, he's got that mustache and always played a blue-collar worker. But
Very matter of fact.
Phenomenal character actor.
So great. Not related to Dan Haggerty. I thought maybe he was Dan Haggerty's son from Grizzly Adams.
No, I don't think so.
He's actually the bear, Grizzly.
Yeah.
He's the bear's son
Great.
from Grizzly Adams.
And then you wanted to mention...
I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Albert Nalbandian, I think is how you say it. He was
the guy that wanted the...
He was the butcher shop guy
steak.
that's like, here's what I want. I want a steak, a quarter-inch steak, nothing more, nothing less. I was here first. He just played the irate
that
customer so
well.
perfectly. You know him from a lot of commercials, and he would show up on sitcoms and stuff. He's just one of those. I like to point out really great character actors that you may not know.
Right.
But you know what his face is.
Right.
And it's just guys that nail their parts so well that you forget that they're actors.
Yeah.
I just want to mention one more actor, Lunell. A hilarious comedian and character
She's
actor.
the cop that works with Tony.
Yeah. She was in, was it the Borat movie? Or was it
Borat in 2006.
Playing the prostitute.
Yeah.
She's just a phenomenal comedic actor.
She is the only black female comedian to have a residency on the Las Vegas Strip.
Nice.
Yeah.
Totally earned. Lunell is
very
hilarious.
funny.
Yeah. If you have a chance to catch her live or to see any of her performances, do yourself a favor and watch.
So the movie is set in San Francisco. The film features familiar sights, obviously neighborhoods of the Golden State metropolis, including the Golden Gate Bridge, the Palace of Fine Arts, and Alcatraz, and the park across from the Full House. The Full House house.
Row houses, yeah.
Yeah, the row houses. It's there. It's where he breaks up with her.
That's very romantic.
The final scenes are set at Dunsmuir House in the East Oakland foothills. They rebuilt the entire roof of the Dunsmuir House in a soundstage for the actors' safety for the fight scene at the top.
Nice.
Yeah. They actually took over a bunch of warehouses downtown and built all the sets in there.
Interesting.
Yeah. The film's original score was composed and conducted by Bruce Broughton. Due to the film's emphasis on popular music, several of Broughton's cues were replaced with existing songs, such as his main title music being supplanted by the Boo Radley's version of There She Goes.
There she goes. There she goes again.
Which I literally thought that was the version I always heard.
Yeah.
And I was wrong. It's the
Laws.
Laws from 1990. Discovered that while we were watching the movie.
Yeah. But the Laws version goes, there she goes. There she goes again.
It's so minusculely different. It sounds exactly the same to me.
It's pretty much the point of what I was just doing there. The only thing is it's a little bit slower.
That's what I mean. It was, also, the Butcher Shop montage, he wrote music for that, but they decided to have Big Audio Dynamite's Rush substituted. I love Big Audio Dynamite.
Me too.
The funny thing is that Bruce Broughton, I didn't include this, but Bruce Broughton was when they were were you mad about it? And he was like, no.
Got paid.
He was I'm just happy to get to work.
Yeah.
And he's it made more sense.
They didn't take all of his music out.
No.
You know?
There were stories in the press that Myers' overinflated ego forced extensive reshoots on the film and that he tried to deny Robbie Fox credit for writing the film, which we know is not true.
Yeah.
It's just that they wouldn't give Neil Mullarkey credit.
Yeah.
On the set, director Tommy Schlamme said that he had his differences with Myers over how the film should be shaped.
What, Thomas Schlamme?
Yeah, Tommy Schlamme.
Tammy Schlamme?
He said that Myers was
taking a stretch beyond his usual self and was playing outside himself. Personality clashes were bound to happen. We struggled.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything you said at the beginning.
Yeah.
It was him playing a character he was not comfortable playing.
It's a big risk. Think of it this way as well. You just come off the biggest movie, the biggest comedy of all time almost at this,
it was huge.
The biggest SNL comedy of all time.
A big surprise hit, so everybody talked about it.
So everybody is like, what's next? And here, instead of doing the sequel to that or some other big, Sprockets or some other character, he's playing himself, which he never does. And you can see the insecurity on screen, like we talked about. And I think that he needed to trust the director to tell him to be like, you don't need to button every scene with hello or some eye roll or some shticky thing. It's like you let it play out, man.
Yeah.
And look, there are really good moments of acting.
Oh, yeah.
From Mike Myers.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that he was at a point where he could trust himself.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tell us, Mike. Call us up.
The director denied that Myers was a control freak and praised the
Total commitment to his work. But, yes, it was difficult.
There were reports that the film went over budget, with infighting among the principal actors and lengthy release delays, and that it was unfunny. Despite these early reports, So I Married an Axe Murderer scored high at test screenings.
Higher than any Mike Myers film ever.
It was getting just bad press.
You know, and this is completely my conspiracy theory, 100%. But I almost think that Lorne Michaels
I knew you were going to go there.
going to be twisting it because he doesn't want. He needs Mike
wanted
Myers
more
to be
control.
SNL. Yeah.
Yeah.
And this isn't a.
It was shortly after this that Lorne Michaels made every single SNL member sign like contracts saying that any movie they're in is going to be produced and or somehow Lorne Michaels is going to be involved.
While they're on the show.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I mean.
But I mean, while they're on the show. But this is the reason why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just think that jealousy or not wanting Myers to become so big that he leaves SNL or
Right.
You know, I mean, look, like I said, there's a lot of you see all the pictures with all the yarn going from Myers to to Dana Carvey to Phil Hartman to but you know, that's just my theory. I think there was some inside shenanigans, maybe not him, but
it was just, I mean, it could have just been bad luck too. I mean, one person says one bad thing and it snowballs and then it's like, you know.
Well, it's just stupid. I mean, when we decided collectively that we needed to know all of this gossip and BS, it ruined movies.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't need to know any of this stuff. I hate knowing stuff like this because it completely takes me out of it.
Yeah.
And this is what happened. Is
People are like, well, with all this fighting and stuff, it's probably stupid, and I'm not going to go see it.
I mean, look at the Marvels, like the Nia DaCosta. Like, the last thing I read about it was that she wasn't involved in the post-production process. And it's like, that's very odd for a director not to be, okay, well, is the movie good or not?
Right.
Like, I don't need to know that.
Yes.
Like, I don't need to you know, it's...
There's this Schadenfreude, weird phenomena that we have now where people just want stuff to fail.
They have to have all the information all the time.
Exactly. It's like, well, I love Star Wars, but now that Star Wars isn't exactly the way that I want it to be, I want it to fail. You know, and it's that way with everything. It's just like, F you guys. Enjoy the stuff that's coming out.
Yeah.
Enjoy it or don't. You don't need to poop on it.
You know, and that dark period between Return of the Jedi and Episode 1, there was no Star Wars.
Exactly.
So I'm just happy to have more Star Wars.
You want to go back to no Star Wars? Because we could go back to no Star Wars.
I will turn this car around. So despite high test scores, the film did not perform well at the box office. It was released on July 30th in 1,349 theaters and grossed $3.4 million during its opening weekend, totaling $11.5 million in North America, which is absurd.
Absurd. I saw it opening weekend. My friends and I did, and we loved it. It's just, you know what's funny too is I remember, and I don't know when this stopped, but it's really sad to me that it did. But I remember sitting in a movie theater and the anticipation of as soon as the credits come up of like, oh, I'm going to be in this thing, and I'm so excited, and just the envelopment of movies were like a warm blanket to me.
Yes.
And I don't know. I think, honestly, the last time that this happened wasn't that long ago. It was with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny because, I was so looking forward to that and was not disappointed. But I just miss watching the opening of this. It brought back that feeling of being, probably a little baked in the theater with my best buds.
Yeah.
You got your popcorn and your peanut M&Ms, and you're just waiting to laugh or have an adventure or whatever. And
there is no better feeling than sitting in a movie theater and it getting completely dark and then projection starts.
Yeah.
Like, that is why I keep going back to the movie theater.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's, it's just a shame because this movie was very funny.
Yeah. It should have done better.
And different and clever. I think, of course there's problems. How does Mike Myers make his money?
Yeah.
How does his character?
I don't know.
Does he have a job? Because we were saying, like, okay, so Charlie's job is slam poetry?
No.
Like,
He's
even
not
in
making
San
money off
Francisco,
that,
you
no.
can't make money as a slam poet.
I don't. To me, it never implied he was making money off that. That was his like hobby.
I don't think so. I think
I-
because they never showed him having a job.
Well, but it wasn't important to the plot, important to the story.
No, but it's just one of those mysteries that I'd like to know the truth of. What did he do?
So the movie received mixed reviews from critics. Roger Ebert, in his review for the Chicago Sun-Times, described the film as
A mediocre movie with a good one trapped inside, mildly signaling to be set free.
he rated it 2.5 stars out of 4. Rolling Stone magazine's Peter Travers felt that
Juggling mirth, romance, and murder requires a deft touch. Think of Hitchcock's Trouble with Harry. Axe is a blunt instrument.
However, Janet Maslin's review in the New York Times said it came as a
Welcome surprise that So I Married an Axe Murderer, which might have been nothing more than a by-the-numbers star vehicle, surrounds Mr. Myers with amusing cameos and gives him a chance to do more than just coast. Again,
It's amazing how Janet Maslin
She
liked
got it.
this and Throw Mama from the Train.
like, I'm starting to have more respect for Maslin. I mean, look, she finds, it's easy to find fault, but it's harder to find stuff that you like.
Yeah.
And the fact that she got this movie. They didn't get this movie. She got it.
Yeah. On April 17th, 2019, it was announced that Netflix had picked up a then untitled 6-episode miniseries for Myers where he will star as multiple characters. In June 2021, it was announced that the miniseries would be titled The Pentaveret, based on the film's conspiracy theories as discussed by Stuart and Tony as they peruse the weekly world news.
Run by the
I
Pentaveret.
think it came out at the end of 2021, if I remember correctly.
Did I think? Yeah, it was pretty funny. It was fine.
It was fine. I need to watch it again. Like, I don't think I was in the right mindset
Yeah.
when I was watching it. But it's just funny because I totally forgot that they talk about the Pentaveret in this movie. So that's all I got. I love this movie so much.
It is probably my favorite Mike Myers movie.
Yeah.
And even though I think Wayne's World is hilarious and I love the Austin Powers franchise, this is just I call it a cozy comedy.
Yeah.
It's a very
Yeah.
cozy comedy, which it's great to watch with your significant other or your cat
Yeah.
or whoever. But it's just get a blanket, put this movie on, have a cup of tea or a big old giant latte. Hello.
I ordered a
I ordered a
large.
large. Hello. Yeah. But it's got just a lovely cast of characters doing really good work. It's just beat after beat. It's funny. It keeps going. It doesn't drag. It's not a perfect movie. No. But
no.
it's a really funny and fun movie to watch. And if you haven't seen it, if you've been staying away for whatever reason, give it a shot. If you like Hitchcock, if you like comedy, if you like Mike Myers, and just for whatever reason you're like, give it a shot, man. It's a fun movie.
When I think of Mike Myers in movies, this is the movie I think of.
Oh yeah, and this is the movie I quote the most.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know,
Hit, Ponce, new.
it's like all the time.
It's such a great movie. It's been a great month. I am excited that we covered Hitchcockian comedies.
As a big fan of Hitchcock, both of us,
Yes.
we are also a big fan of comedy. It's just the same thing with like sci-fi and Twilight Zone and
Yeah.
Ghostbusters and the melding of some of your favorite genres a lot of times doesn't work, but when it does, it is amazing. And this movie blends comedy and suspense and Hitchcock in a way that doesn't take itself too seriously,
Yeah.
but serious enough that it's not just a goof.
Yeah. It seemed like everybody had a lot of fun making this.
Yeah.
And this is why all the talk about it being the negative talk about
Yeah.
it surprises me because
Yeah.
on screen it looks like everybody had a lot of fun.
Oh, and the chemistry, not just between Nancy Travis and Mike Myers, but the chemistry between Mike Myers and Anthony LaPaglia as best friends, the chemistry between Brenda Fricker and Mike Myers, or even more so, Brenda and Anthony.
Yeah,
And their whole
yeah.
thing. Just these the little moments are what makes it great. These tiny little, I love comedy minutia. Stuff that
Yes.
probably and 90% of the people don't even notice or whatever. The little background stuff, like we were talking about in Throw Mama from the Train, seeing the coffee table book at the end.
yes,
It's just
yes,
you
yes.
blink and you miss it. But it's that kind of stuff, the attention to detail. And this movie has a great attention to detail. And it's silly
Yeah.
and it's goofy, but it also has heart.
It's so much fun.
And it's just fun.
It's
And
just really fun.
you get, where else do you get Charles Grodin and Stephen Wright and Patrick Bristow and Mike Haggerty and Anthony LaPaglia and Phil Hartman and Brendan Fricker.
The thing I love
Amanda
about this
Plummer.
movie is that it's a series of sketches.
Right.
It's just set in the real world, and they're not characters. But it's a brilliant way to write a movie.
And there's a really good mix of great actors and great comedic actors that come together to give this film a cohesion and a substance that kind of rises above the material.
Yeah.
You know, and not that the material's bad, but like Throw Mama from the Train, without the creative forces behind it, it could have just been another bland, silly comedy.
Yeah. All right, we'll be back next week with our Stepdad show. We'll talk some more Hitchcockian comedies.
Oh yeah, I'll be talking about Moonlighting.
Yeah,
because it's very Hitchcockian. Good Lord, is it Hitchcockian? I think they even use the music from a lot of Hitchcock movies too, but in such a fun way. But again, if you haven't seen So I Married an Axe Murderer, grab it. You can see it on Max.
HBO Max, or Max, as they call it now.
Hour and a half.
Yeah.
If you love comedy,
so much fun.
You like
and
any of these guys.
You can do a double feature with Throw Mama from the Train, which is also on HBO Max.
Yes, and I would say Mama first.
Yeah.
And then So I Married an Axe Murderer. You're going to finish stronger on that one. Maybe have yourself some sort of chicken pot pie.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go, chicken pot pie. We'll see you next week. Chicken pot pie. Welcome to the Gen X Files. Does that sound weird?
It sounded like you said Gen X Files.
You got that right in the middle.
You said Gen X Files.
Gen X Files. Yeah, I'm drunk.
Woo!
I've been drinking gin. I'm gonna throw up.
Okay, all right.
Welcome to the Gen X Files. I was overdoing it.
Over enunciation time.
Oh, God damn it. It's always a good show when I can't even get the opening out. Will Ferrell.
Mike Myers.
Beep, beep, beep.
We're not talking about Night of the Roxbury.
The absolute, God damn it.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled programming. Max Headroom, already in progress.